As a whole opened in 1909. As soon as cars were made, they started racing, and this is a track that everybody circled on their calendar from the very beginning. We're here at the Brickyard to bring you the final round of the Champ Car World Series preseason challenge, the Arrowhead Challenge 200. I'm Christina Ryan. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon. Getting straight into things here. No time to waste. We're going straight into qualifying. It's a 4-lap qualifying session for these drivers to see who can put down a quick enough lap time. It's the best of 4, not the average of 4, so we'll keep an eye on that one as its 10-minute session is commencing. Wasting absolutely no time. Taking a look at Robin Summer as she negotiates this 2.5-mile racetrack, and what a beauty it is. Many over the years, over the century, have nestled their name into the history books. One more will do so tonight in the final round before the full season gets underway. The championship's already under wraps. That does not mean that there's not some fights to be settled. Everybody second on back, still up for positions. And as we watch Robin Summer negotiate and find the wall there out of turn number 3, deep into turn number 4. We'll see what Emma Kruger, the preseason challenge champion and now ABN super sprint champion, can accomplish. Not too far off of finding her way into the champions book in Hyper Formula either. So far, first one to put down a lap of representative nature. And goes top the leaderboard. Angel Hernandez not far off either. Again, it's a 4-lap session. McBride goes fastest in the 46. A bit of a sleeper there to go to the top for Stepping Stone. The rookie struggled a lot last week out. Back on the oval where he seems more comfortable. Gaiman puts down a time good enough for 4th. What can Kruger do this time by? One of the favorites for the championship once it fully gets underway. Again, this is the final round of the preseason. Lilac Zier goes second quickest by only 200ths. Number 89 machine, 1 win at Dover for Bajent Judd. Lee Overton goes second fastest. Lily Pelletier sharp to the top of the boards with a previous best finish of 6th, which then got bested by a best finish of 5th at Laguna Seca. The second driver at Gear Cats, finding speed, it seems every weekend. Currently atop the board, looking for her first career pole. See if she can get that done today. So far, it's looking quite good. It's sharp. McBride over to Zier, Kruger, Gaiman, Hernandez. Zier goes fastest now in the 89. Can Pelletier Sharp respond, though, on her second lap? Hernandez ties Zier, but Sharp goes faster than all of them. Back to the top of the board. Carmen Hardy, fresh off surgery, finds herself second. It's worth noting Emma Kruger also racing with a sprained ankle. Injuries up and down the grid. Gaiman goes 5th fastest. Very close up the leaderboard here. 1/10 separates 1st through 7th on the time charts. Handful of laps still left to go. Hernandez coming to the line now, as is Overton and McBride. McBride about to finish his qualifying run. Hernandez will finish his qualifying run. Not fast enough for pole, but fast enough to jump up the board a bit further. Carmen Hardy barely nips Pelletier Sharp, who just completed her 4th lap. So she got pole for just a second, but Carmen Hardy steals it. Hardy gets loose out of turn 2, though. A good save, but that's probably qualifying run done for her. What can Lilac Zier do on her final lap? Chris Constantinou just finished her 2nd lap. It's only 10th fastest so far. Zier across the line, not fast enough, but will hang on to 4th. Robin Summer now coming out to finish her 2nd lap. She's trying to get a better lap on the board than what she had. Finished her 3rd lap. She's got one more after this. Alex Martin goes 9th fastest. Frankie Franchicha on his 1st lap, the Spaniard takes pole. Robin Summer 1 lap to go. Constantinu coming to the line now. 2-time winner last week. At the line this time. Only 11th fastest. Can Franchicha go any faster? I don't think he's going to need to. Alex Martin, Robin Summer, and Constantinu, the only 2 cars left to run laps. Hardy finishing her 4th lap, but already lost it, got out of shape on the back. So it's going to be a front row start right now. For the front row currently is Franchicha, Hardy, and Sharp. And yes, it is a 3-wide start. Constantinu coming to finish her run. Robin Summer finishes her run as well, not able to go any faster. Franchicha has 2 laps left. Constantinu goes fast enough to jump Martin, but not fast enough to jump Emma Kruger. Alex Martin and Frankie Franchicha, the last 2 cars on track. Franchicha, the current pole sitter. Martin, 1 lap to go. On board. Really illustrating here how precise you need to be. Watch these hands. Alex Martin right up against the wall there. Brilliantly placed. And across the line, will it be enough to jump Constantinu, Kruger, or Overton? No. But it's P11 for Alex Martin. And that'll give us Franchicha, Hardy, and Sharp, the top 3 on the first row, followed by Hernandez, Zira, and Gaiman behind them, McBride, Overton, and Kruger. And the final row will be Constantinu, Martin, and Summer. 2.5 minutes left if anybody else is going to jump in last second, but it looks like it's going to be a healthy but small grid for a shootout here on the most famous rectangle in the North America. And it does not appear that anybody else will go on track here. So that'll more or less do it. Qualifying will complete. 2 minutes remaining. Elias Flores did not opt to turn a lap. The only one to do so. He will start in his own row on the back. Well, I actually turned 4 laps. None of them seemed to count. So, but it doesn't say that he's crashed. So apparently the lap times for the number 42 not counting. But everybody has run 4 laps, minus Lee Overton, who's only ran 2, only opted to run 2. Franchicha will be the pole sitter in the number 97 machine for the final preseason event. We'll have a 10-minute warm-up session, and then it'll be race time, diving straight into things here on ABN. It should be an exciting event tonight. Great crowd on hand, beautiful racetrack. Doesn't matter if there's 33 cars or 12. It's still an entertaining event. We're about a third of a field. Hopefully that'll mean less cautions and more racing. The racing here always fantastic with this package currently. Very much looking forward to it. And whether it's a shootout test race off season or the 500, everybody circles this race. Everybody wants to win at this racetrack, whether it's the road course or the oval. I'm fortunate enough to have won in stock cars on the oval and won in open wheelers on the road course. It's just as sweet. One of the most famous tracks, not only in North America, but in the world. Of course, the famous yard of bricks on the start-finish line. Part of the historic ties for this track, originally all brick paved. Of course, as the cars got faster and speeds became excessive, it was a little less viable for them to be running that kind of speed on brick. They found the compromise. It is open warm-up now, and we get ready to see what those last adjustments can do. Looking at Josh Gaiman now, who had some struggles in practice. Winner of the ABN 500, fresh off of an HTL victory, the first career victory in HTL Cup Series for Gaiman. Also with Stepping Stone Motorsports over on their stock car side of things. Trying to get another trophy in the cabinet for the open wheel side. It is such an easy track to turn slow laps on, but when you are cranked up to the max in traffic, it is so difficult to not make a mistake. You hear Gaiman shifting here to 5th gear. You can see it on the dashboard. Probably shifting up to 6th here down the middle. There you go. Brilliant shots here to show us. Let's go ahead and go with the helmet camera for Josh Gaiman to give you an even better view of that dash. Down to 5th gear again. Of course, these drivers get to play with the weight jacker. They also get to play with the anti-roll bars. So they will be able to adjust these cars on the fly despite it being a fixed setup event. Of course, all the cars in Champ Car spec minus the bars and the weight jacker. And you see a car up ahead there. Notice that the arrow push is something to keep in mind as well. I believe that's Lily Pelletier Sharp headed down the back straightaway just in front of Gaiman here. And if Gaiman gets close enough to her, you might see that steering wheel start to turn to the left even more, as Gaiman will suffer a lack of downforce on the front of the car, because trailing another car in these super speedway packages, there's not a lot of downforce on these cars to begin with. On board here with the T-bar cam, and you can see, yeah, already, a hard lick there for Gaiman in the dirty air of Pelletier Sharp. And exactly what I was talking about. It is difficult to turn those cars when you're following somebody. That's why the weight jacker is there. That's why the bars are there to help. Oh, as Robin Summer finds the wall out of turn number 2. So while we saw Gaiman having an understeer condition, it looked like Robin Summer got loose, might have clipped the curb. Another no-no. Pelletier Sharp still turning some laps here as we get about halfway through the warm-up session. It should be an interesting race. A lot of the heavy hitters from the preseason are here. One absent is, however, Olivia Hayward, not present for tonight's event. Sure, we'll see her back when the season begins in its actual entirety. But this will more or less hand off second place in the championship to Lilac Zier, if she can put a good run together for Bajent Judd. Of course, had that win in Dover. Ohe had the win in Richmond. Lots of first-time winners were produced in the off-season here. Those two come to mind. Of course, Carmen Hardy with her first win in the opening round. Chris Constantino getting her first win and then getting a second one. Plenty of happy drivers after 10 grueling races in the off-season. Still watching Sharp circle around. Here's Chris Constantino, as mentioned, winner last week at Laguna Seca. Another one of the Stepping Stone Motorsports drivers. She's won at Rudskogen and Laguna Seca, has not had the same kind of success on the ovals as of yet, but boy, today'd be a great day to turn that around at one of the most important tracks on the calendar. Some drivers like Kruger, Sharp, I'm sure everybody, but especially those that maybe don't have so much to lose tonight, learning for May. trying to get an understanding of what these cars are going to do when we come here for the big event in the summer. Sharp practicing a pit entry, as is Lilac Zier. Very important skills to be learning here. With a field this small, it's very likely that the racing could go green for a long way, which could mean green flag pit stops, which means that data they're collecting now is critically important. To watch Constantino continue to circulate the track. Here's Elias Flores on track. Did not see him turn a qualifying time. That was valid anyways. Now practicing the pit in the number 42 machine. Gonna have to try to do it from the back today for Ascent Racing. It's gonna be a tough act to follow there, starting from 13th, but has a row all to himself, which could be critically important. But of course, those 3 wide starts do spread the field out a good bit, so it's gonna be not as challenging as starting from the back in the 500, of course, but starting in the back gonna be a little difficult to get up through the field, but we'll see what Flores can do. Alex Martin looking for a good finish today. I think Agent Inc. as a whole looking for a good finish today after the initial round. The success that Team Boss Lee Overton saw in Chicagoland. That luck and success has kind of hit a brick wall in the following 8 races, but looking to start things off how they started, or finish things off how they started things off with a good result for Agent Inc. And Lilac Zier in the pit lane. 3 minutes to go before we go on the grid and get ready to go racing here at the Brickyard. Aptly named for what Lilac Zier just drove across there, the Yard of Bricks. It's where the start-finish line is. No burnouts allowed on that unless you want to make very many passionate fans angry. We've seen it before. Zier down the back straightaway. Looking like it's going to be a pretty interesting event. It feels almost like a Daytona shootout at this point, like a Budweiser shootout. Some of the heavy-hitting drivers on one of the most important tracks to the series, in lieu of one of the most important races in the schedule, following a little later in the season. Of course, the Bud Shootout and the Daytona 500 a little closer together than this event and the 500 later in May, but nevertheless, same kind of format, same kind of vibe, and this one has the added bonus of kicking off the finale here for the preseason challenge. Of course, the championship already decided, so even furthermore, it's going to feel more like a shootout because the championship's already wrapped up. Emma Kruger clinched it already. Of course, that championship doesn't necessarily count as a full championship, but that doesn't really matter anymore to Kruger because she picked up the sports car championship earlier this week in Okayama. Several of those drivers that we see on track and on the leaderboard now also were in that event. Kruger locking up a championship there in that finale. 40 seconds of warm-up left. It will be a 3-wide start if you're just now joining us. Glad to have you here on ABN. I'm Christina Ryan, flying solo tonight here from the little rectangle in Indiana as we get ready to go racing. Fans packing the stands one final time for the preseason. It's going to be an exciting one. We're expecting 13 cars to take the green flag. It's going to be a fairly short race compared to what we're usually accustomed to. 300 miles short of the big show in May. And about a third of the field. It's a bit fitting. It's a bite-sized example of what we're going to be looking forward to in the summertime. However, not to fret, because it should still be a great event. Taking a look here now at the final race of the preseason challenge. It is slightly windy, much less wind than we're used to seeing around these parts, but it is also cooler here. Only 68 degrees in the air. It's a 2.5-mile racetrack. It's 94 degrees in the air, or on the track rather, so gonna be a little bit slick out there, but not too hot in the grandstands, at least for those fans. One of the most historic tracks in open wheel racing, and one that has formed the foundation, the building blocks for motorsport since its opening over a century ago. Once again, here is the grid. Now they're double file right now, but they will be triple file, so keep that in mind as we go through here. Again, Frankie Francica on pole for FFC. Carmen Hardy, fresh off of surgery, still nursing that foot, but puts it second fastest, only 300ths off of Francica. It's only 3 more thousandths off of that to Lily Pelletier-Sharp, who once again just barely falls short of her first career pole.
Hang on, we're not going green, not going green.
Angel Hernandez not too far off either in 4th, and number 15, a good run for him. Lilac Zier putting together great effort as well, and you have to look all the way down into 6th place, the end of the 2nd row, Josh Gaiman, before you find somebody who's a 10th off of the pole time. It's still a great effort from him. Zach McBride bouncing back after a dreadful weekend in Laguna Seca puts it 7th place. Alongside him will be Lee Overton and Emma Kruger, the reigning champion of the preseason challenge. Now has a championship, as we just mentioned, in sports cars as well, to actually add to those accolades, and one of the strongest contenders for the championship once we get going for the real deal. Chris Constantinu, 2-time winner on road courses, defending race winner from last week. Alex Martin and Robin Summer round out the main group, and Elias Flores in his own row for Ascent Racing Team in the number 42 machine. It's going to be a fun one to watch. It's going to be an interesting one. Again, a quick look at the weather here on the right-hand side of your screen. The wind dying down even more so, which is good news. That should give us some good racing here. Handling for these drivers should be a bit easier with all of that in mind. Of course, only 68 degrees in the air, even better, and it's cooled down from 90s to 84 degrees now on the track temp. That means plenty of grip for these drivers, and the lack of wind means plenty of opportunity for some good wheel-to-wheel racing. It's going to be an exciting race. There's 4 unique corners on this track. They may all look the same on the track map here, but I can assure you each corner feels entirely different from the other. As they come down the front straightaway, the pace car should stay out here, and we should be doubling, or rather tripling up at the line. That's why they're all single file right now, and what a beautiful sight that is. A couple storylines to keep an eye on as we head into the final race of the season. Before we go to the real season, as mentioned, Emma Kruger winning the preseason championship. She's got 6 champ car wins in her career. While the championship doesn't count as a championship, the races count as race wins. If she could get to victory lane today, she would surpass that tie and become the winningest driver in champ car history on ABN. Boy, wouldn't that be a title to carry into Phoenix for round 1 in not too much time. Carmen Hardy, as we mentioned, in the middle of that first row, coming off of a foot surgery. It's worth noting Emma Kruger also racing on a sprained ankle. She said she's been struggling a lot with the finesse that's required of lifting off the throttle, but Carmen Hardy finally getting surgery after racing most of the season on a broken foot. She'll be our in-race reporter today. We might have a word with her under one of the caution flags if we do have one. She seems very, very eager to get at it. It's one of her favorite tracks, one that she has very near and dear to her heart. And finally, Lilac Zier for Bage and Judd competition. With Olivia Hayward's absence, it is a strong possibility that she takes second place in this championship, and while it might not mean much, it is still there for bragging rights, and it's a good show of what she can do in a car that she said she didn't like too much. With that, Those are the keys to the race, and we'll now get things underway here from the Brickyard. 13 cars about to take on these 4 corners around the 2.5-mile circuit. Fans on their feet. You can see as they make their way to the bottom of the map before it disappears. This is going to be where the start zone is on these traditionally 3 wide starts. The pace car is gone, and we are about to go green flag racing. Franchicha is going to step on it, and you can see them scatter. We're underway here at the Brickyard for the final race of the ABN preseason challenge. Oh, trouble. Josh Gaiman spins into turn 1. Will he fly back up into traffic? He will. Oh, and a huge collision. That is a massive impact, and somebody upside down. I believe it was Robin Summer that got collected with Gaiman. We'll wait to get word that Robin Summer is okay before we show any replays of that. Thankfully, a wide shot there, but the caution comes out. Gaiman caught out on cold tires. A horrible crash in turn number 2. Frankie Franchicha leads lap 1. Carmen Hardy second. Sharp third. Gaiman and Summer hopefully okay. A massive incident there to start off this event, and that is not what we wanted to see. Gaiman had a similar incident in practice sessions, dropped it in turn number 1, spun and tried to save it, hit the inside retaining barrier on the warm-up lane and flew back into traffic. Almost an exact carbon copy of what just happened. And it would appear that they are both at least okay. They've taken it to the pit lane. So we'll have a look at it here. Both of them seemingly okay. It is a real concern with how these cars are, but you can see, yeah, just lost it again out of turn 1. And now this is the hard impact here with Robin Summer. Oh my goodness. Absolutely dreadful. She flies into the catch fence. Luckily hits the safer barrier more than the fencing. Take another look here. Coming out of turn number 1, you can see already starting to lose the back end. See how much yaw that blue car has of Gaiman, and he slides down almost into the warm-up lane. Just never can quite catch back up to it. Slides, and contrary to what happened in practice, doesn't overcorrect this time. Rather just slides and spins and is locked down, but the momentum of that car is going to carry him back up the racetrack. And look at that second to last car in line. Here comes Robin Summer, picks the wrong lane, heavy contact, and launches backwards. Luckily, just glancing the fence. Thankfully, the halo there to keep her safe. The safety structures, the safety cells on these cars, so strong. And it's a scary crash, but it could have been a lot worse. Both of them able to jump out of those race cars. A scary ride. Taking out 2 cars very early on. Again, here's Robin Summer fighting with Chris Constantino here, and you can see where Gaiman is sliding on the front there. And then there's the contact, and it just launches her. And then the long slide, pirouetting on the gearbox, slamming hard into the ground. And in her position, there's not really much you can do. We'll ride on board here with the helmet cam appearing that we still have it. You can see Gaiman will slide back up the track. And that's all we have of it. So we did lose our camera on that, but one more look at it here. Gaiman loose off of turn 1 to bring out the first caution of the day in violent fashion. Watch and listen.
Green flag, go, go, go!
Meanwhile, now at the front, things back underway. Frankie Franchicha still leads. Can they get through turns 1 and 2 cleanly this time? Doesn't appear like anybody opted for a pit stop, so they all ran behind the pace car. Glad to know that both Summer and Gaiman are okay. That's the most important thing here, is we're back to racing at the Brickyard. Down into turn number 3 at speed for the first time now. It's Francicia, Hardy, and Sharp, the top 3. As they come down the front straightaway. First green flag lap completed. It's the Spaniard out front. Carmen Hardy with a good run, though. Can't do much with it. There's the field. See, Carmen Hardy running a slightly lower line, really flirting with that curb there. Peltier Sharp having a great run so far as well. Riding on board with her now in that number 18 machine. You can hear her shifting up to 6th gear. That's the draft gear for these cars. You can hear how much she has to lift off in that dirty air as well. It's not easy to drive these things. It might look easy, but I can promise you it's not. Looking back now at Angel Hernandez and Lilac Zier, who's into 5th position now. Emma Kruger up 3 spots to 6th. Elias Flores is up 2. Everybody else kind of maintaining, holding station right now. On board with Carmen Hardy's helmet camera. Got a nice run out of turn number 4. Might set up the pass on Francicia. Gonna opt to ride behind him. Peltier Sharp actually gonna take advantage of that and move to the inside of her. And now they're gonna scrap over 2nd place. So Carmen opting not to go overly aggressive there. As you also see, I believe that's Alex Martin fighting Chris Constantino. It is. But Hardy opting not to be aggressive. Peltier Sharp sensing that and taking advantage early. Sharp in the pink car on the inside, Hardy on the red and blue one on the outside as they nearly come to blows down the front straightaway. Carmen will get 2nd place credited on that lap. Emma Kruger making a move now as well, just behind this on Lilac Zier. Move her up another spot. She's up 4 now and into 5th place. And Hardy wins out the battle over Peltier Sharp this time. But a good effort from Sharp to try and take advantage early on. This has kind of given Francicia a little bit of room to run, which could open up an opportunity for Carmen to get a big run. I wonder if Carmen, now knowing that she's facing pressure from behind from Sharp, wondering if Hardy might try to make a move here to go to the front, though fuel saving will be critical tonight. It's going to be hard to say. Down the back straightaway once again. Francicia, Hardy, Sharp, Hernandez, Kruger, the top 5. Alex Martin and Lee Overton. Something has happened to Lee Overton. And that's Chris Constantino as well. What's happened here? Constantino's got some significant damage. The race was stayed green, but Constantino hard in the wall out of turn number 1 and then hard into the inside wall in between. I wonder if that was arrow push related or not. And then I think Overton just spun following that. So here for Overton. As you see, there goes Constantino into the wall. That's her night done for the day. And oh, Overton caught too much curb. Brilliant job to hang on to that car and keep it off the wall, though. What a piece of driving by Lee Overton to keep that thing in play, though he is going to make a pit stop now, as will Constantino, so their days may well be out of contention. I would imagine Constantino's day is done as Carmen Hardy now takes the lead from Frankie Francicia on the start-finish line. So put Hardy out front, Francicia 2nd, Sharp 3rd. Peltier Sharp starting to come under a little bit of pressure now from both Hernandez and Kruger. Zier and McBride hanging on to this group as well. There's Hardy on the left. She's the leader, followed with Francicia. They seem to be the early front runners in today's event. Hernandez, Kruger, chasing down Peltier Sharp, who's starting to bridge that gap back to the back bumper of Franciszka once again. Carmen Hardy started this season. Oh, Kruger in the wall and onto the warm-up lane now. How much damage does she have? Zach McBride scraping the wall in sympathy. What's happened to Kruger? I think this was later on. I think this is the incident. Oh, gets into the arrow push of Angel Hernandez and smacks the wall. And I think McBride just in reaction there also catching the wall. They both will lose that main draft now. And Zier is in danger of losing it as well. So this might be a 4-horse race at the moment. And Kruger has crashed. So her day, evidently too much damage on that number 70 machine. And she will bring out the second caution of the day. Unfortunate for her, you saw her parked down in the warm-up lane in turn number 2. Turn 1 being a bit of a calamity corner today. And it's claimed yet another victim. Lee Overton is still on track and may well get a wave by here as virtue of this caution. Constantino and Kruger still in the pit, so now we're down to 9. There's the safety car. Carmen Hardy will pick it up. Franciszka second, then it's Sharp, Hernandez, Zier, McBride, Martin, and Flores. And then Overton a lap down. Let's take a look and see what happened to Emma Kruger. We know we just took a look at her the lap before where she grabbed the wall in the arrow push. I would imagine... Oh, she clips the curb. Goes high, hits the outside wall again. And finds the inside wall, so the damage was too much. Another mistake on top of that, and that's the end of the night for your champion. On board here. Just absolutely no response from the steering there. It looked stiff. I think there is probably some significant damage from that right side from her initial contact, if I had to guess. And that's all she wrote. So nobody pit under the first caution. Everybody except for Lee Overton will come in this time, which will give Overton a wave by and should put him back in contention in this event. Carmen Hardy gonna lead them down pit lane. Question remains though, will she lead them off of pit lane? It is a very slippery and a very tricky pit lane here. Into the box they all go. And looks like a gas and go for Carmen, so she will lead off pit lane. Looks like it's gonna be Franciszka. Then Hernandez, Sharp, Zier. This will really bail out Zier and Flores, who were losing the draft. Will also bail McBride out. It really bails out Overton. And that will give us... I believe that will put Overton back on the lead lap. He does come into the pit lane, but he will be back on the lead lap now. So that'll give us 9 cars running and 9 cars on the lead lap, which will set us up for the next stage of tonight's event. Well, while we have the time, I'm gonna try and talk to our in-race reporter, Carmen Hardy, see if we can't have a word with her. Carmen, this is Christina in the ABN booth. You got a copy? Well, it was a very scary crash to start the race. A green flag run for a bit. Under some pressure from Pelletier Sharp. Converted that pressure into an attack on Franciszka. And now you've got yourself in the lead after a cycle of pit stops. Notice the wind was low and the temperatures are low. Can you feel that grip out there, or is it still about as slick as it usually is?
Lane when Willie was trying to get by me. it does have a noticeable effect, and it feels good. It feels really good right now. This 96 Buick is just a rocket ship right now.
We know how much you love this track, and even though it is just a little test race to finish off our preseason challenge, we know how important it is to win on this circuit, no matter what vehicle it is, no matter what layout. Where would this one rank if you ended up in victory lane tonight?
A hell of a lot bigger than Chicagoland to start the season. I'll say that much. Yeah, this track means a lot. Kentucky means a lot. There's not going to be too often many races that stack up to being here, though. This track, it is the holy ground for a reason. Obviously, a lot of laps left, but it's still all focus ahead. It's all to play for.
Well, it's a strong start. We know you're not finishing last tonight, as 4 cars have already bowed out. We'll let you focus on the driving here. Good luck, and thanks for talking to us.
Thank you very much.
So Carmen looking like she's going to bear down here and sink her teeth into another stint as we get ready to go racing once again here from the Brickyard. The pace car is going to take that hard left down pit lane. It's Hardy, Franchicia, Hernandez, Sharp, and Zier, the top 5. Martin, Flores, McBride, and Overton, the remainder. A great jump by Franchicia, but can't go anywhere with that run. That opens the door for Hernandez. We're back underway. And Franchicia tried to take an opportunity on Hardy, but it's going to actually turn into a bit of a mistake and open the door for Angel Hernandez. They're side by side for second behind Carmen. So they come down the back straightaway. Carmen picks the inside lane. They might be 3 abreast headed into turn 3. They're thinking about it. Hernandez backing out just a little bit. Franchicia high, wide, and handsome through turn number 3 and 4. Falling back maybe just a bit, but should have some momentum off the corner. Gonna have a little bit of draft from Carmen, but Carmen playing the lanes. She knows how to do this here. It's what she does best. She now goes back from the wall to wall, snaking down that front straightaway. Hernandez and Franchicia now in tow, side by side behind now for 4th. It's Sharp and Zier. Zier trying to get her fangs out here late in the season. We haven't seen her make a whole lot of aggressive moves, but trying to go for a move now for 4th. Can't get it done, though. Under fire now from Alex Martin as well. Hardy playing defensive into turn 3. It's a 3-car breakaway by about a half a second. Zach McBride out of the groove, but keeps it out of the wall just barely. And the number 46, he's going to fall back quite a few positions, though. Down the front straightaway once again. Side by side up front, it's Hernandez and Hardy. Hernandez ducking back into the wake of that number 96 machine. We just talked to Carmen. She seems very confident in that machine. Down the back straightaway again now. As we work lap number 19, you see them all snaking down the back. Many of them jumping up to the high lane to get the optimal arc. Carmen stays on the bottom to play defense. How long will those Firestones allow for her to do that? Hernandez trying to close the gap a little. On board now. Good run. Ducks to the high side. Carmen with the advantage still for now. Looking back at 8 hungry drivers who want to win on one of the most famous circuits of motorsport. You see them darting around.
Did I miss much?
You have.
Yeah. Oops. Sorry.
Welcome, Stritz, to the booth.
Yeah, these hotel rooms in Indy are just too nice, and their alarm clocks too complicated.
Well,
we're here now.
We're glad you're not in the car. As we work here on lap number 20 now. 21 now, 20 in the books, 60 to go. It's Hardy, Hernandez, Franchicia, the top 3. Hardy has not led every lap of this race, but she has not relinquished the lead since she took it. Leading through a cycle of pit stops. Down the front straightaway once again. Franchicia closing in, but Hernandez is the one who makes a move on Hardy into turn number 1, put the number 15 on point. Trying to be the third leader in today's race alongside Franchicha and Hardy. Hernandez from third to first now. A really nice move on Carmen. Can Carmen get him back? Will she try to get him back? Peltier Sharp looks inside of Franchicha now for third. Side by side.
Fantastic moves happening here at Indianapolis Oval. You know, these cars are draft heavy around this track. It's really fun to watch them drive and get the run through all of these straightaways. There's 4 straightaways connected to 4 corners here, much like any oval, but they're 4 very, very distinct corners, and getting that run out of the corners is incredibly vital. So watching these cars all manage to get that run out, make the pass before a corner even happens, it's so wild.
We'll see these drivers arcing the corners, trying to set up the pass. We know Carmen had some strong runs early on, and it is worth noting Hernandez now the third leader officially in this race at the line. You notice Carmen gets that run but doesn't take it, but you know who does is Peltier Sharp, and she's going to try to go for the lead from third to first in one corner. Can she make it stick? Hernandez gave her room. She can't quite make it stick, but she will complete the pass on Carmen Hardy. That was a bonsai move from way back in third. Now she's going to try again. And will.
Try again, and it might just stick, but Angel's going to have the run on the outside of the corner. Didn't quite have enough to clear. Going to be going through turn 4, and it looks like Angel Hernandez is going to have the run outside of the corner. Getting on
trouble.
The outside.
Oh, Overton slides and saves again. Second time tonight he's done it. A great job and a great save. Sharp still side by side with Hernandez. We stay green. And yeah, Sharp almost had the pass completed into turn 3, but she clipped the apron and got a little sideways. I think we had another car smack the wall in the back, if I'm not mistaken, but we still stay green. Everybody pointed in the right direction. Hernandez and Sharp are not giving this one up.
Still side by side, heading into turn 3. Lily still on the inside. Angel Hernandez still on the outside. 2 by 2 throughout like a majority of the lap, and Lily Peltier Sharp gets it done, but Angel Hernandez is going to dive to the inside. See if they have the run. I think Angel might be side by side by this point.
Well, yeah,
so
now
they're going
it's
to swap places now.
Yeah, now it's roles reversed. It was a great move by Hernandez, who's really pushing the envelope here. Both of these drivers pushing very hard, but Peltier Sharp, enough waiting around, she said. Her teammate's out of this race. This is her opportunity to get her first career win in Champ Car. It's still early going, but she's putting on a show right now with Hernandez. Hardy sits back and watches, waiting in the wings with Franchicha and Zier now creeping up into 5th again. Alex Martin having a great run in 6th, up 5 positions.
That was a really smart move from Lily Peltier Sharp, trying to pinch on the turn onto turn 2. And that pinch really worked, being able to work from basically the same line, just a car removed, a car higher on that lane is going to help you generate, like sort of arc that corner and generate enough momentum to keep ahead of the other car on the lower groove. And doing that, getting that tight to the car on the inside is a little bit scary, especially at these speeds, but Lily manages to make it work and gets ahead by quite a significant margin now.
Yeah, she has the lead for the time being as the Arrow push works a little bit more now. It is worth noting Elias Flores has entered the pit lane and is working on a pit stop, and also can now confirm Lee Overton's problems. Had 2 incredible saves in this race, but has found the wall and jumped to the pit lane. I believe it is day done for the boss at Agent Inc., unfortunately. Let's try and see if we can't take a look at what happened to him. We had just seen him make a big save out of turn 4, but once again catching the curb out of turn 1, the Calamity corner. And that is day-ending damage to that rear suspension and the front suspension for good measure. So unfortunate for him. 3 times and you're out, I suppose. But Sharp leads Hernandez, Hardy, Franchicha, and Zier. And then for good measure, Martin and McBride. That's all 7 on your screen as they head down the front straightaway.
wide as these corners are, this track is very unforgiving, especially in these cars. They are so heavily dependent on the aerodynamics in these vehicles, and when you get in a draft, a whole lot of different things can happen to your car. You know, with the turbulent air and whatnot, you can get what's called aero push, and basically your car feels like a dump truck and doesn't want to turn in. And in other situations, getting out of the corners, this track can get very dicey, very slippery, and unfortunately catching Lee Overton out there.
On board with Angel Hernandez now. We are looking back from Peltier Sharp at Hernandez, now looking from Hernandez's eyes, the driver's eye view of 2/10. That's what a quarter second looks like on this track. It looks like such a long distance for that to be 2/10. But it shows how fast these cars are going, upwards of 230 miles an hour at their peak.
That's right around 360 kilometers an hour for those Canucks at home.
Coming out of turn 4. Yeah, for sure. Some of the fastest speeds on land racing. For reference, Formula One cars have plenty of grip, but they don't go quite as fast. They top out at Monza around 210, maybe 220. These cars touching 240 in qualifying trim, just around the 230s. So this is what these cars are built to do. They were built around this track. They were built for this track. And while many drivers have qualms about this package, especially on the large ovals, there is no denying that it puts on consistently fantastic shows here at the track it was built for.
Elias Flores is also still in the pits, so I think that might be day done for Elias, potentially receiving damage or something of the sort.
Yeah, that'll leave us with the 7 we see on screen left in this race. It has been a race of attrition, but not in the way that we're used to seeing. A massive crash to start this race, taking out Robin Summer and Josh Gaiman. So we see Hardy taking a peek there on Hernandez for just a moment. And then we saw Constantino and Kruger drop one by one, and then Overton and Flores dropping out on the same lap for separate incidents. So it seems like they're leaving in pairs this time around. We are not far off, by the way, of potentially hitting some green flag pit stops, which are critically important here, and those that practice their pit entry probably a little excited for that.
Yeah, getting on a pit entry is going to be a lot of fun to watch. Getting these cars woed up from as fast as they're going at this track, about 370 kilometers an hour in the draft, actually. I just clocked Carmen Hardy going about 373 kilometers an hour down the backstretch. But being able to get on a pit road and get the car woed up in time to try and save some time while on pit road, that's probably going to be one of the more challenging aspects of this race.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw some drivers opting to take the warm-up session to practice that entry. Drivers like Zier, Hardy, we've seen them make those moves. I think everyone should be fairly well equipped. If you're going to take any race seriously in this season, it's going to be this one. Here, we might be trying to catch an interview here with our champion, Emma Kruger. She has been checked and released from the infield care center. So let's see if we can't have a word with her. Emma, this is Christina and Strix in the ABN booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't ask if Lily was going to be alright if I left the view station.
Well, we'll make it quick then. Your teammate currently out there leading the race, doing a fantastic job right now with a bold move. But you had a hard hit there down the front straightaway. First of all, are you okay? Is your ankle doing all right? And how was the race for you, even though it's over a bit early?
I'm over it. Yeah, I struggled a bit in traffic. I didn't really get any practice in traffic in practice. Didn't know what to do with like the bars and the wayjacker. And clearly I didn't think anyone around me was really in the same boat. but still made up a couple of positions on the restarts. Overall, the first like 10 laps were pretty good, but then afterwards, we just don't talk about it. Yeah.
Well, you have a lot of momentum from this season, of course. You are the preseason champion. You have the actual championship from earlier this week in Super Sprint. You seem to be one of the strongest contenders to win the outright championship once that gets going in Phoenix. What are your thoughts moving forward here? Because it looks like you and Lily both are seeming stronger and stronger every week at Gear Cats.
Yeah, I'm incredibly impressed with her. The gains she's been making recently. Sorry, I'm a bit distracted. Yeah, she's been doing amazing. It's been pretty cool seeing her grow. And yeah, hopefully we can eye up a team's championship not only today, but next season as well. And hopefully she can get a couple race wins under her belt.
Today could be a good day to do that, a good pit entry for her. We'll let you go back and continue being a crew chief teammate with her, but thanks for talking to us, Emma. Glad you're okay.
No problem, thank you.
So, as you see the track map popping up now as we are working pit stops. 3 cars in a group here, 4 cars staying out. 5 actually, but I believe McBride tried to pit first time around and missed the pit in. And Angel Hernandez comes all by himself this time around. Peltier Sharp, the first one off of pit road. Alex Martin gaining quite a bit though, right there with her. They're gonna have to be careful on these cold tires.
Ooh. Carmen Hardy had a little bit of a moment out of turn 1, getting a little bit loose, had almost a death wiggle. That was an incredible save though. Kept it pointed straight. And Carmen is also going to be pitting this lap, so we'll probably be seeing Carmen Hardy, Frankie Franchicha, and Lilac Zier all coming into the pits this time around.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. It's good to pit with friends so you have that draft buddy. I think that might be one thing that could be hurting Pelletier Sharp here. Actually, no.
No, they
Carmen
stay.
comes in all by herself. It's going to leave Zier and Franchicha out. So Franchicha going to resume the lead from the pole sitter. If only for a moment. There you see on the apron, that's Zach McBride coming out of the pit lane. I believe he might have had a speeding penalty. Actually, no, rather, he lost a lot of time from trying to box and missing the pit the first time around, so that's why he's so far back. But of those that have pitted, it looks like Angel Hernandez is going to come out on top of the field at the moment, and Pelletier Sharp going to fall to second. There's the gap there, but what can Carmen Hardy do since she's on her own? Franchicha comes in, but Zier stays out and will become another driver to lead a lap in this race. We're at halfway now.
I think Lilac Zier was just able to save way more fuel than all the other drivers just by sake of staying in the draft and not doing a whole lot of work.
Yeah.
And we have seen Lilac Zier pull off some incredible, smart strategy calls previously at ovals, as well as on short courses even. So it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out, but currently Lilac Zier ahead by a significant margin.
Yeah, she still has to make her pit stop though, so keep that in mind. It looks like she's finally coming into the pits now. Franchicha out of the pit lane. This is the battle for the de facto lead. Ooh. Franchicha is not going to be able to hang on to it. Hardy almost got the lead out of the pit lane, but Hernandez just a little faster. Franchicha's going to blend in pretty nicely though. Seems like Pelletier Sharp had a really good entry to the pit lane, but maybe not the best pit stop outright. McBride really the big loser here because he's now way off the group. Now what's interesting is where will Zier pop out? We see her dot. You see the dots on the track map on the left-hand side of the screen. Those are the leaders, so we'll see where she feeds in.
Lilac Zier took tires and fuel here. So she'll be blending out now. And coming through the access road, you'll see her on the inside of the course there.
Yep,
and on
here
the outside,
is the
you can see the pack.
I think just about everybody took fuel and tires, so a pretty standard pit stop here, but just past halfway, Zier will slot in just in front of Pelletier Sharp. So everybody having a pretty textbook pit stop. Sharp going to actually fight this one out on the warmer tires and will get that position. Oh, nearly contact there. Zero has the strategy advantage, though. So Zero has the strategy advantage. However, we have Pelletier, Sharp, and McBride being the biggest losers here, but Pelletier, Sharp able to rebound from this. But right now, all 6 of those drivers are together on track. McBride the only one to lose the draft. And very tight up front now.
Lily Pelletier Sharp apologizing over the radio. I think Lily might have gotten a little bit loose coming into turn 2 or 4, whichever it was. But we saw that little dip from Lilac Zero, a little tweak to the right on the steering input.
It certainly hasn't phased her, though, because she's just made a brilliant move once again on Frankie Francica to go up into 3rd position. So she shook that one off and got right after it. Carmen Hardy now making a move for the lead. Pelletier Sharp gonna take it 3 wide, nearly contact to the inside retaining wall. And she is gonna take the lead. What a move from Pelletier Sharp.
That was incredibly daring. I actually saw a little bit of dust sprinkle off the wall from that move, not even kidding. So that was inches. That was incredibly close to disaster, potentially spitting the car back out into traffic as we see Carmen Hardy going down on the outside now, trying to fight for that position back.
Yeah, you saw a quick look at the replay there. Hardy is going to get the lead back. However, that was a brilliant move. I think it might have been a netcode wall tap there. I took a quick look at it there on the broadcast, and I think she might have gotten away with that one. A brilliant move. I have not seen this kind of confidence and this kind of racing out of Pelletier Sharp all season. It's great to see. If you're going to get fired up for any race on the calendar, it's going to be here. She's going to have to settle for 2nd for now, though, because Carmen Hardy wants it just a little bit more at the moment, and you can see that is evident by her snaking around down the backstretch here. Hernandez probably going to be looking to try and make an advantage as well, but all these drivers trying to save fuel where they can. I'm not so sure that Pelletier Sharp is thinking too much about the fuel mileage. I think she's just trying to get out front and lead as many laps as possible.
Snaking down the backstretch, trying to break some of that draft is Carmen Hardy. All the other drivers following, but Lily gonna adamantly stay attached to Carmen Hardy's back bumper to try and keep in that draft. If you drop that draft for even a moment, that'll destroy some of your run, but that snaking can only do so much. You can't really snake back and forth across the track because, well, first of all, it looks kind of weird.
Well, you
Second
can.
of all,
as long as you're predictive about it, it is okay. You can't make a move once somebody has made a move on you. You cannot make a reactive block, but as long as you are making a preemptive move, you are allowed to break that draft. It's just a little early to be weaving around like there's chicanes on the track, but we do see Carmen taking defensive lanes, playing it nice and smooth right now. And Pelletier Sharp just taking a minute to catch her breath here. She made some really big moves here to get herself back into position. I think she might have been a little frustrated from what she lost on that pit stop. She now finds herself back in a really good position here. And that was a brilliant, brilliant move. Let's see if we might take another look at that one here, because really, it was one to remember. We're on board here. Look at this here. Just swings it down. Yeah, I don't think she hit the wall at all. I think it was just very brief if she did. So
no, she didn't hit the wall. The dust that came up was, I'm pretty confident, was just some netcode contact with that wall. But that just goes to show how close she was. Enough to really engage those kinds of damage, or like, you know, those damage behaviors from the servers. But yeah, it just goes to show how close to disaster Lily actually was, but kept it off the wall and made the move stick for a little bit.
Yeah, it's also worth noting that in the background of that shot, we saw Lilac Zier similarly pass Frankie Francica. Of course, Francica got that position back, as has Hardy getting a position back on Sharp, but it still is a net gain for Sharp because she's still past Hernandez and is holding on to that 2nd spot. So really, really great move there. And you can see now really snaking down towards that inside wall is Carmen Hardy. She does not want to be so easily skunked there. You might catch Hardy napping once. It's really hard to get her twice. One of the fastest drivers learning on the fly. She studies her drivers. It's a bit like going into battle. She studies you. She tries to find your weaknesses and exploit them. She's a very crafty driver, very scrappy driver, as we'd call it. She's doing a great job. Of course, we mentioned the top of the broadcast, she won her first race ever in Champ Car competition on ABN in the first race of preseason, looking to close things out. Talked to her in the in-race report. She said it'd be a hell of a lot more of a big win if she could get it done here than at Chicagoland. But either way, she doesn't have to worry too much. But nonetheless, putting on a great show. And we're getting at a point where we might be able to make it on one more pit stop.
Elias Flores also making the disconnection from the server, saying, all right, see ya, I'm out of here. Unfortunately, it seems like I missed a few things here while I was unfortunately napping. But yeah, Elias Flores is having a lot of bad luck and saying, you know what, I'll go do something else. While Carmen Hardy continuing to lead this race so far. Anna Kruger looking on the outside, but not quite close enough to make a move. And it seems like the battling has died out just a smidge. Everybody getting comfortable on a single file line, but you know this is going to start heating up in just a few laps when we get closer to the end.
Well, what it is here is I think they're all trying to get comfortable. They're trying to make their fuel numbers. Of course, we saw Zira go longer than anybody on fuel. That could prove critical on this next cycle. She may be able to take less fuel on this stop or outright eliminate a stop depending on how borderline the fuel is. We don't really know the fuel numbers that well because this was our first green flag run we had all the way through. And it seems like they'll be able to make it on one more pit stop, but it could be close. It's not too, it's still a little too early to tell, I think. But on top of all of this, you have to keep in mind that this is the last race of the season, but Indianapolis really turns into the Brickyard really turns into one of these situations where you're riding in line, saving fuel often. It's just settling in the groove and getting ready for the next pit stop. We saw the racing early on. Everybody kind of got settled. They're hanging onto their tires. They're adjusting their cars. They're learning. These laps matter, but they don't matter as much as lap 80. So everybody's trying to work towards that goal.
It does seem like everybody's just trying to stay in the draft and hold those fuel numbers up a little bit. At this point, Carmen Hardy would have led quite a few laps, but the disadvantage being getting stuck out front with being forced to be the one to create that hole in front of everybody else, that hole in the air. Carmen is going to be sucking up more fuel than anybody else on this field. So Carmen is going to be likely among the first to make the move down to pit lane. They head through turn 1, and once again, they are still single file. Everybody seeming to have the same idea.
Yeah. It's also worth noting, though, that if you are the lead car, you, to an extent, get to set the pace. You can hear Pelletier Sharp lifting a lot here, trying to save some fuel on that number 18 machine. She's honestly in the catbird seat using Carmen, but if we cut back to Carmen here, we might hear Carmen lifting a little bit, too, or at the very least not shifting. Could be running 6th gear all the way around. You can get away with a little bit of saving at the front. Obviously not as much as if you were the leader, but it's really on 2nd and 3rd if they decide they want to pass you or not. And we can hear here just an even solid tone. If we go back to the front cam here, you'll see Carmen riding 6th gear all the way around. So even though that she's leading this group and punching the hole, she's still doing her own version of fuel saving. She is keeping it in 6th all the way around.
And she just mentioned that over the radio too, said, so we're all fuel saving, huh? Mm-hmm. She noticed that, so...
It's some of those things you pick up after you run a few of these races here. You know, it always turns into people fuel saving, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It is by design a fuel mileage heavy track, a fuel mileage heavy package. You can race when you want to. This is by virtue of the fact that this package is so good that you can make moves when you want to, and you can save the car when you don't. It doesn't give everyone this sense of, I need to make a move as soon as I get it. And I think it's one of those rare instances where a package that promotes a lot of passing actually promotes better racing because people are a lot more wise about when they make their moves. This is chess at 230 miles an hour. You know, you don't have to make a move with 25 laps to go, because odds are you might very well just throw away your chance to have the lead. You don't necessarily want to be the leader on the white flag here if they're as close as they are.
Something I noticed as well is that the drivers seem a little bit chatty right now. Well, most of the chatter has died down by now, but I say that, and Lily Pelletier going over the radio. So it seems as though the drivers are a lot more comfortable at this race than they have been at the previous races. You know, at the previous races, we saw a lot of radio silence over these radios, aside from calling out pits, and like pit entries and such. But this time around, it seems like everybody's actually having a lot of fun, and I'm not surprised. The Indianapolis Oval is one of the more wide open, one of the more fun tracks that you can actually visit, especially in this open wheel car.
Yeah, so it makes sense. This car is built for this track. You know, the package was built for this race. It's one of those situations. And you also got to keep in mind, they're not racing so hard right now. Everybody's friends with each other at the moment. They're all just saving fuel. They're all trying to get to that finals portion of the race. And no matter what happens here, they all have been guaranteed a top half finish, because Zach McBride is 1 lap down and still circulating. 13 cars started this race. So the worst any of these drivers can finish tonight is 7th. Pretty much all but one is guaranteed a top 5 by the end of this race.
That is, unless we see another wreck here, and we might! Ooh, save it! Still sliding around, and Carmen is going to keep it off the wall, but is way off the pace now.
Incredible save, though, it must be said. That could have been a day ender. We saw the same thing happen to Josh Gaiman. The results were much worse. Take a look here. Hang on, Carmen. Out of turn number 1, just losing the back end ever so slightly. And she almost overcorrected it, but does a brilliant job to keep that thing locked down. No damage on that number 96, just a bruised ego. But we saw something similar happen to Lee Overton before he retired from this race, and he got bailed out. So a caution would put her right back in this fight. But right now, this gives us a 5-horse race. It's Sharp, Hernandez, Franchicha, Zier, and Martin, and that is not a top 5 I would have expected to be saying before the start of this event.
I'm not one to put a commentator's jinx over the race, but I think it's pretty fair to say that we're probably not going to see another yellow flag, given how comfortable these drivers have become, and given how
I fully disagree.
How casual.
I fully disagree. We just saw Carmen Hardy drop it all on her own from the lead. You don't think these drivers are hanging on to it? Yeah, they're not racing too hard, but all it takes is one car to point backwards. McBride pits, interestingly enough. So this could be setting us up for the end of the event. Remember, Lilac Zier pit right after the halfway point, so at least she could make it on 1 tank of fuel from here. So this should be the final pit stops of the race. At least it will be for those that say.
Sharp is also going to be making a pit stop at the end of turn 4, just announced over the radio. So many of these drivers are going to be taking that splash of fuel to try and make it to the end.
Yeah, and they should. It'll be a full tank and probably tires. Alex Martin comes in as well. Lily may need to save a little bit of fuel here, as will Alex and Zach, but they should be good to make it to the end here.
This just got really interesting.
As it always does.
It was Alex Martin and Lily Pelletier Sharp both going into the pits the previous lap. Angel Hernandez now announcing that he is going to be going into the pits this lap. We'll see if Frankie and Lilac Zier take the bait, but I don't think Lilac is going to be going down. We saw just how long she could last without going down for fuel.
It's very similar to what we saw last time. Hernandez comes in all by himself. Then Franchicha and maybe Zier will come in, but I think that Zier could stay out another lap like she did last time. There is Carmen Hardy, who again is going to be a lap down, currently in the danger zone as a result of that slide that she had, but she's going to probably try to tag on to some of this draft here in an attempt to try and gain some track position. So the battle for the lead preemptively right now is going to be where Lily Pelletier Sharp is in 4th position, and she's got 4th by a pretty strong margin here, but it's going to be a matter of where Angel Hernandez comes out of the pit lane. You see Hernandez, that dot, coming out of the pits now, the number 3, moving through turns 1 and 2 onto the warm-up lane.
Lilac is going for the lead into turn 1.
And she will get it. She's led earlier in this race, but she's going to take the lead once again, this time on pure pace while fighting with Franchicha. So that says to me that she might be boxing this time by.
Another thing, too, is Franchicha seems to be quite slow compared to how they have been racing before. So they might be trying to stretch that fuel tank just a little bit just to get that extra lap.
Yeah, the more you save now, the less you have to save in that final stint. And for the record here, we're looking at Angel Hernandez, who should inherit the lead once this is all over. But look at this, Zira and Franchicha stay out again.
Interesting. So there is a potential that maybe Frankie had about a 0.9 lap, just a small percentage of the lap left that they needed to save. In order to be able to stay out about the same length of time as Lilac has.
You know who this is going to benefit?
Relinquish the lead.
This is going to benefit more than anybody else, though, Carmen Hardy and Zach McBride, because as they're running at a slower pace here to try and save fuel, Hardy and McBride, you can see them here working a leapfrog strategy to try and gain as much time as possible to try and get back into this race.
Very smart move. Leapfrogging like that is going to increase your average speed throughout the lap a lot more significantly than just staying behind the other cars or fighting the other cars. Pretty smart move there.
Now remember, McBride and Carmen also racing for the lucky dog spot should we get another caution. So they're helping each other, but they're also trying to help each other pretty much bury each other over on this one. However, when Zira and Franchicha pit, they'll be back on the lead lap. It's just a matter of when the leaders pit. Lilac Zira with the opportunity to save extra gas behind Alex Martin. That bought them one more lap, and now they will both pit with 15 laps to go. Here's the main question. Where is this going to put them in relation to Hernandez and Sharp, who are going to be the ones who inherit the lead? Because I assume they will have been faster in the last 5 laps. But let's see. You see the dots on the bottom of your screen. That is Zira and Franchicha.
It's a very long drive down pit lane to try and get to those pit boxes. Both cars now in their stalls. Both cars will be taking tires and fuel here, which seems to be the standard here at Indianapolis. Lilac Zira already out of the pits. Already out of the pit stall, and going to just barely get beat up by Frankie Franchicha on pit lane. That was a very close battle off of the pit exit, and now they're both going to be getting onto the access road and blending into traffic. Let's see where they end up.
Yeah, they're just a touch ahead of both Sharp and Hernandez, but keep in mind they're going to be on colder tires here. They're going to take a second to get up to speed, but it looks like they are going to actually hold on just for a little bit over those two. So it's going to be Hernandez and Sharp. They're going to be in the draft of at least Lilac Zira, and they're going to probably be able to pull each other up to Franchicha, but right now it's the Spaniard, your pole sitter, back in front with 14 laps to go, and the gap is closing. Zira, 5/10. You see the top 5 on the top of your screen. The gap between Zira and Franchicha, between 4/10 and 5/10, now 6/10. I think Sharp might have hit the wall here, had just a bit of a moment where she almost hit the wall. And she's trying to hang on to the leaders now, so I think she's okay, but I think she had to really jump out of the gas there.
Zira headed to 12 laps to go. Lilac Zira still sitting behind Frankie Franchicha, but being able to catch up and being able to suck into that draft. Angel Hernandez in 3rd position, just within grasp, and Lily Pelletier Sharp also might be just within grasp of that draft. Dropping out of that draft, though, I think Lily might have actually dropped out of the draft here, and that's very important because if you drop out of the lead draft, drop out of the lead pack, that is a significant amount of speed you're dropping.
It is. I think she might have cost herself just a bit there. I think she was a little over-eager to try and get back into it. It's not over yet, though, because keep in mind, she's running in 4th place. If these 3 cats up here wipe each other out, let's say a 3 wide move gone wrong. It is far from over. And Lilac Zier going to try and make a move for the lead on the inside here. Coming to 11 to go. Into turn number 1. She's on the inside. She's clear. Lilac Zier back to the front, looking for her second win for Bajan Judd.
This does make me wonder if Lilac Zier might have been sitting behind Frankie Franchicha just a little bit, waiting
She was.
For those fuel numbers to go green. And now she's got pedal to the metal. She's in the lead. She can control this pace here, and she's got it all the way to the floor with Frankie Franchicha right behind.
Yeah, but Franchicha, remember, they're on the same fuel strategy, so Franchicha got to try and fight this one back. They don't have to save any fuel. They pushed it. They did all their saving in the previous stints. They've earned the right to go full beans now. With 10 laps to go, Hernandez just on the periphery of the draft. Sharp starting to fall back just a tiny bit, though, but if anything happens, she's going to be in perfect position to try and take advantage. You see her at the top of your screen there. So Hernandez finally now within touching distance. Hernandez does have the draft, so it's going to be a 3-horse race, but how much fuel can Angel Hernandez save? Remember, he pit later, but he also did not pit as late as Zier and Franchicha, so he's okay on fuel, but he might have to save a little before it's all said and done, and all this running he's doing to get back in the draft might be burning up the fuel he had to try and go for the win. Frankie Franchicha, your pole sitter, lost it early on to Carmen Hardy, but never left the top 3 all day long. The rookie looking to end out this preseason on the top step. Lilac Zier to the inside. She's won a race on strategy. She's looking to win one on pure pace today. Through turn 4.
Like, she looks like she's just on one today. Like, just getting a ridiculous amount of run through these corners and being able to make these passes before the corner's even over.
She's setting up her corners very, very well. We saw it on the onboard. She sat behind Franchicha down the back straightaway the last time she went to the lead, and then made the move out of 4 and down the front straightaway. She's got that car dialed in very nicely, and as time ticks away, it's anybody's guess which of these 3 drivers are going to be on top here. But right now it's Zier out front. They're trading lap times, they're trading blows, they're trading laps led. They've both led several laps today previous this part of the event. Hernandez creeping back into frame the number 15. He's led laps today as well. Pelletier Sharp has as well. So everybody in the top 4 has led at some point today. Alex Martin, it must be said, looking for a brilliant result, and that number 11 machine going to be P5 if it stays how it is. He's going to be pretty happy with that, even though he's out of the draft right now and kind of just hanging around with Carmen Hardy, so that battle is going to continue. But as it stands, you see Sharp in the way in the background, but it's going to be primarily Zier and Franchicha, Hernandez in tow, and McBride has crashed. He's going to get going. Severe damage, though, to the 46 machine. What happened? Was racing with Carmen Hardy and washes up on his own. And a hard lick to the inside wall. We stay green, though, as he tries to limp home. 6 laps remaining here at the Brickyard. And Hernandez
back there.
Has fallen off a bit.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Hernandez has fallen off a bit here. So a mistake from Hernandez. Doesn't look like there's any damage on that car, but this will take him out of the fight. It's a 2-horse race between Zier and Franchicha. 5 laps remain. McBride has made it to the pit lane, so we will stay green.
I was taking a look at that incident with Zach McBride, trying to get up towards the wall just to let Carmen Hardy by, and unfortunately they got a little too close to it, getting hard into the wall and then breaking that left front tire loose after contact on the inside wall. It's very unfortunate, but these kind of things can happen. These open wheel cars are very sensitive. They want you to drive them around this track in a particular way, and if you get out of that groove that everybody's been driving all day, you do end up finding that risk of losing control of your car, or the car just doing something you don't expect, especially getting off of turns 1 and 4, or rather turns 1 and 3, it seems like the cars get really loose off those corners. So, unfortunately catching Zach McBride out, but Lilac here is building a gap to Frankie Francicia, unless Frankie is having the idea of trying to build up quite a significant amount of space between those two drivers and then try and slingshot past on the start-finish. Now would be about a perfect time to try and practice that.
Yeah, you don't get many shots added here, and it's worth noting you can run too wide through these corners. You just can't run out in that gray, which is where we saw McBride try to go. It's also worth noting while you were mentioning that, Hardy has caught and passed Alex Martin for P5, so despite her mistake, she's back into 5th. And we saw just for a moment there, Pelletier Sharp starting to catch on just a little bit there. You see them in the background to Angel Hernandez. I don't know if she's gonna have enough time, but she could be on for a podium here. Either way, she's gonna better her best finish that she just set last week at Laguna. So a good effort from the number 18, but it's all eyes on Zier and Francicia. 2 laps of racing to go here from the Brickyard.
Oh, I think something might have just happened.
Hardy has
Alex
crashed.
Martin.
Racing with Alex Martin for 5th, and Carmen has found the wall.
Oh! Oh no! I just took a look at what happened. That's... Oh. Carmen Hardy got a little bit too close to the wall, started scraping the wall. Alex got very scared by it, of course, getting just seeing a car just come off the wall like that. Very dangerous. Moved to avoid, and unfortunately netcode took Carmen out and threw her into the wall.
Well, we'll take a look at that in a moment, but the white flag's in the air. Carmen into the pit lane, no caution. Francicia makes his move on Zier now into turn 1. Francicia to the lead, the pole sitter trying to win the final race of the ABN preseason challenge. Through turn 2, can Zier try and reel him back in? You can see now there's the zigzagging that we were expecting to see. However, Zier is closing. She's made this move out of turn 4 twice already. Gonna try it one more time through turn 3 in the wake of the number 97. Can Zier get her second win? Will Francicia win it here at the Brickyard? Out of turn 4, it's gonna be a side-by-side finish. Get your cameras ready. Who is it gonna be coming to the line? Lilac Zier is gonna get it over Francicia. And what a move, what a race, what a finish for Lilac Zier.
Wow. Incredibly smart move from Lilac Zier, getting passed by Frankie Francicia into turn 1, but not being fazed by it at all. Not being fazed by it at all, and just sitting back, biding her time, and picking the exact right opportunity to make that pass. Frankie Francicia might have pulled the trigger a little bit too early, but Lilac Zier on top.
She had to rise to the occasion. Francicia made her work for it. She got her first win in Dover off of pure strategy, but she took the strategy one step further and wins it on pure pace. That is your margin of victory for tonight's race. Lilac Zier, a 2-time winner in ABN Champ Car competition. She's up 4 positions from where she started to get it done today.
Is that a smoke alarm going off in the background here in the booth? Or is that just me? Lilac Zier, though, doing her victory donuts here. Man, I gotta say, I wish I was here for the beginning of this, and I wish alarm clocks weren't so complex these days. Everybody's got these, you know, all these hotels have these smart clocks that it's so complicated to work, but Lilac Zier, this race, extremely complex. She makes it look easy, no problem, doing a huge burnout off the wall, on top of the bricks. Got nothing but respect for Lilac Zier being able to make these smart moves that she's made all throughout these ovals and capturing yet another win in the ABN Champ Car preseason challenge. And I think some of her front winglets might have popped off a little bit doing that, doing that nosy against the wall. But a fantastic race from Lilac Zier front to back. Fantastic strategy. Was able to stay out later than anybody else, take less fuel than anybody else, but was able to take just enough for the celebrations at the final race concluding this season. And so, with that, would be the conclusion of another fantastic race. But before you go, we do want to get a talk to some of these drivers in here. And it doesn't seem like we have very many other drivers, but we do have our race winner, Lilac Zier. We're going to pop her into the booth. So, hello and good evening. Lilac Zier, do you get a copy?
Hello.
So, you've won one race prior in this season, pretty well through strategy, but this time around, seems strategy helped a little bit, but not nearly as much as just your timing and your pace. Walk us through those last few laps there when Frankie Francica made that move on you on the last lap. What were you thinking?
Well, to be honest with you, I was thinking I was in trouble. The second place car usually can dictate when they make the move, and I wasn't sure if I was going to have a chance to get a run after they passed me. But I just cranked the weight jacker a couple more clicks and full throttled it through 3 and 4 and held it on to it as best as I could. And then Frankie apparently was running out of fuel right before the line, so that helped. But I had the run, I think, with the draft. I think I would have got it either way. But
Yeah,
it was just.
I did see a little bit of a wiggle from your car coming out of turn 4. It wasn't extreme. If you had a close eye, you could definitely see it, though. So definitely makes sense you pulled the weight jacker on it. But a fantastic race from you. And you were also the only car that really stayed out as long as you did. I think you had a stint of about 19, 20 laps or so. So throughout the middle of the race, is that all you were thinking about, is just fuel saving, or were there other strategies in mind?
Well, I thought with the amount of laps we had to go at the caution, 66, I think, maybe 65, I thought, better to save fuel and be sure of making it on that last stop than try to push and then have to splash. So I saved a little bit the first run. I saved a lot the first run. And then I thought, okay, well, everyone else might have been saving too. And I think they probably were a little bit. But I thought, okay, well, I'll do the same thing again the second run, but I'll push a little harder to keep up with them because they were pushing harder too. But I figured if I keep saving, not only will my last stop definitely get me home, but I will also have a couple laps where I can run in clean air, and that might help me get a little bit ahead of people and jump them in the stops, which actually did work out on the second green flag pit stop, more so than the first one. And but I actually pushed it one lap too far because I was running out coming into my pit box, and it was very scary. And that's probably why Frankie was able to jump me on that pit stop, even though we both came out ahead of the pack. But we came out side by side, and he had the inside for the pit lane exit, so he was able to just get me there. But luckily for me, that was still a good place to be because I could ride behind him for a couple laps. Then I made a move. I just wanted to lead. I didn't think I would be able to hold it for the rest of the race, but I just figured, if I get up front and there's a caution or something, then I'll be in a good spot. And if not, then they'll make a move on me, and I'll just have to try to counter it best I could. And I didn't really think that I would be able to, but it was really fun, and I'm glad that I did.
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of the great thing about this season of the Champ Car Preseason Challenge was watching you improve not only in terms of your strategy and being able to apply yourself in like a really smart way, but also watching your abilities on track improve to the point where you made a pass just on pace and being able to make a move like that happen on an oval. It's great to see, and we love to see our drivers do well. and improve throughout a season, and that's exactly what you did. So congratulations on yet another win here on the preseason challenge here at Indianapolis. Do you got anybody you'd like to thank?
I just want to thank my team, Callie, the team owner, even though she couldn't be here today, but she's here in spirit. She's alive. It's just that she couldn't make it to the race. I don't know where she is. She's probably bartending or something. And my friends and everyone at Prismatic, everyone in the league, really. I don't have any beef with anybody. All the teams are cool. Gear Cats, Stepping Stone. I ran in a different series, a one-off race for them, so good for them to be here. I like them. Just everybody.
All right, so that is Lilac Zier, the winner at the Champ Car preseason challenge. On your screen, it says 1 career Champ Car win. We can add another to that and add Indianapolis into that list. I believe Christina Ryan might be back in the booth now.
So we're having emergency power issues, so we're gonna have to cut this short. I'm trying to keep the stream going. But great to hear from Lilac Zier. We'll only be able to talk to her given the issues, but we want to thank everybody so much for joining us for the ABN Champ Car preseason challenge. Again, full results are on your screen. If you missed this, don't worry, you'll catch it on YouTube shortly. Of course, it'll be up on the Twitch page for 2 weeks' time. But until then, from Strix9 Pulsatrix, I'm Christina Ryan. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. We hope you have a safe weekend, and we'll talk to you next time in Phoenix.